I can still hear the sound of the school bus pulling up to the curb that morning, the squealing of the brakes, the hiss of the doors opening. And then my son was gone, swallowed up by the yellow beast. I didn't think much of it at the time, just another day in the endless monotony of parenthood. But now, 4 days later, I can't shake the feeling that something terrible has happened. When I called the school to ask where my son was, they told me he never arrived, that he had never gotten on the bus. But I know he did. I remember watching him climb the steps, backpack slung over his shoulder, waving goodbye to me. And then, nothing. Just an empty feeling in the pit of my stomach. It wasn't until I spoke to the school administrators that I realized the full scope of the horror. 18 children, all gone missing on the same day. A bus that wasn't supposed to be there. A driver who couldn't be identified. The police were on the case, but I could tell they were as lost as the rest of us. I tried to remember anything I could about the bus, about the driver, about anything that might help. But all I could recall was the sickly yellow of the metal, the length of it stretching down the road, the wheels turning endlessly. It was like the bus itself was a living thing, a monster that had come to claim our children. The other parents were in a frenzy, gathering at the rec center to commiserate and cry. Some of them were grasping at straws, talking about government conspiracies and alien abductions. But I knew the truth was even stranger than that. It wasn't until we received the drawings that I realized the full extent of our nightmare. Each of the missing children had sent a picture, a crude but haunting depiction of a school bus traveling to places no bus should go. Over a cliff, under the sea, through a burning barn. And on the back of each drawing was the same message scrawled in black ink. It's just a little trip. I could feel the blood draining from my face as I read those words. The bus was taking our children somewhere, but where? And for what purpose? The answer came the next day in the form of a grisly discovery halfway across the country. The police found a field filled with scarecrows, each one wearing the clothes of one of the missing children. The lyrics to "The Wheels on the Bus" were scrawled in the mud, a twisted taunt from whoever or whatever was behind this nightmare. And so I stand here on the curb, waiting for the bus to come back. I've taken up smoking again, a nervous habit that I thought I had kicked. But every day I wait, hoping against hope that my son will come back to me. Every day I feel the weight of the horror that has descended upon our town, a darkness that seems to grow with each passing moment. And today, as a yellow bus rolls around the corner, I feel my heart racing with both fear and hope. But as the children stream off the bus, none of them are mine. And I know that the nightmare is far from over. Days turned into weeks and weeks turned into months. But there was still no sign of our missing children. The town was in a state of mourning, with every storefront adorned with pictures of the missing kids and messages of hope and prayer. But we all knew that the chances of finding them alive were growing slimmer by the day. I couldn't take it anymore. The constant waiting, the not knowing. I had to do something, anything, to try and find my son. So I went to the police station and demanded answers. "What are you doing to find our kids?" I shouted at the officer behind the desk. "What leads do you have? What evidence?" The officer looked weary, like he had been asked that same question 1,000 times before. "We're doing everything we can, ma'am," he said. "We followed up on every lead, talked to every witness. But so far we've got nothing." I felt a surge of frustration and anger. How can you have nothing? There has to be something. Some clue, some hint, something that can help us find our children. The officer leaned forward, his eyes meeting mine. "Look, ma'am, I know this is hard, but we're dealing with something that's beyond our understanding, something that doesn't make sense. It's like trying to catch a shadow." I wanted to scream at him, to tell him that he couldn't just give up, that he had to keep looking. But I knew deep down that he was right. The horror that had descended upon our town was something that defied explanation, something that was beyond our comprehension. I left the police station feeling defeated and hopeless. But as I walked down the street, something caught my eye. It was a flyer taped to a lamppost advertising a meeting with a local psychic. Normally, I would have dismissed it as nonsense, but I was desperate enough to try anything. The meeting was held in the basement of a rundown storefront, with a handful of people sitting in folding chairs, waiting for the psychic to arrive. I sat down in the back feeling self-conscious and foolish, but when the psychic arrived, I felt a strange sense of calm wash over me. She was an older woman with kind eyes and a gentle voice. She spoke of energies and spirits and auras, and I found myself listening intently. She looked around the room and her gaze settled on me. "I sense that you are searching for something," she said. "Something precious that has been taken from you." I felt a lump forming in my throat. "My son," I said. "He's one of the missing children." The psychic closed her eyes and I could see her lips moving silently. After a moment, she opened her eyes and looked directly at me. "I sense a darkness surrounding your son," she said. "But I also sense a glimmer of hope, a light that is shining in the darkness." I felt a surge of hope. "What can I do? How can I find him?" The psychic reached out and took my hand. "You must trust in the light," she said. "Follow it, and it will lead you to your son." I left the meeting feeling both hopeful and skeptical. But as I walked down the street, I saw something that made me stop in my tracks. It was a school bus, just like the one that had taken my son. But this one was different. It was painted white with no markings or logos, and it was parked in front of an old warehouse on the outskirts of town. I approached the bus cautiously, my heart racing. As I got closer, I could hear voices coming from inside. I peered through the window and saw a group of children huddled together, looking scared and confused. I tried to open the door, but it was locked. I banged on the window, trying to get their attention. "Are you okay? Are you the missing children?" One of the kids, a little girl with pigtails, looked up at me. "We're so scared," she said. "We don't know where we are or how we got here." I felt a surge of anger and determination. I had to get these kids out of here and find my son. I looked around searching for a way in, and that's when I saw him. The man who had taken my son. He was standing at the entrance to the warehouse watching me with a cold, calculating gaze. He was tall and thin, with slicked back hair and a thin mustache. He wore a suit and tie like he was about to go to a business meeting. I felt a wave of revulsion as I looked at him. He was the one who had taken my son, who had taken all of our children, and I was going to make him pay. I charged at him, screaming and flailing my arms. He tried to dodge me, but I caught him with a punch to the face. He stumbled back, but he didn't fall. Instead, he pulled out a knife, a long, gleaming blade that glinted in the sunlight. I backed away, suddenly afraid. But then something inside me snapped. This man had taken everything from me, and I wasn't going to let him get away with it. I charged at him again, and this time he swung the knife at me. I managed to dodge it, and then I tackled him to the ground. We rolled around, grappling and punching, but I could feel my strength fading. I was no match for him. And then out of nowhere, I heard a voice. "Mom?" I looked up, and there he was, my son. He was standing there, looking both scared and relieved. I felt tears streaming down my face. "Oh, thank God," I said. "Are you okay? Are you hurt?" He shook his head. "I'm okay, Mom, I'm okay." I hugged him tightly, feeling a sense of relief and joy that I had never known before. And then out of the corner of my eye, I saw the man starting to stand up. I knew I had to act fast. I grabbed the knife from the ground and plunged it into his chest. He gasped and fell back, his eyes wide with shock. And then he was still. I felt a sudden sense of calm, like a weight had been lifted from my shoulders. The nightmare was over. Our children were safe. As the police arrived and took control of the scene, I looked down at the man's body. He was a monster, a sick and twisted predator who had taken our children for God knows what purpose. But he was also something else. He was a reminder of the evil that lurks in the world, the darkness that threatens to consume us all. And he was a reminder that sometimes we have to fight back with everything we've got. I looked up at the sky, feeling the warmth of the sun on my face. It was a new day, a new beginning, and I knew that no matter what came my way, I would be ready to face it.